What is good, guys? I thought I'd take this time to, talk a little bit about rugby. We're gonna go through a little bit of rugby and what's been happening. My predictions for a couple of the games coming up on the weekend. Of course, you guys know I've been live streaming my reactions to the games. I was gonna do the Ireland New Zealand game yesterday, but cheers, Gog. Cheers, Gog, you ruined it. Unfortunately, I was on the PlayStation with my mate, and he told me that Ireland had already, he told me that Ireland had won. I still haven't actually watched the game itself, so maybe that'd be something I could do. You guys let me know if you want me to, watch the game. But I already know that Ireland won. Cheers, Gog. Cheers, bud. Yeah. So moving into the final week of the autumn internationals before the Argentinians take on the Barbarians in week 5. That'll be the last game of the autumn. What we got Ireland going up against the USA. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I think that's going to be an easy win for Ireland. It'll be a good chance for them to test out some of the young players. The USA, they are on the cusp. They're on the cusp. They're looking to be able to compete with the likes of the lower end top tier teams and maybe the high end top 2 tier teams. So USA are on the up, but this will be a good opportunity for Ireland to test out some young players ahead of the Six Nations and the World Cup. Another big game, England versus Australia. Now, both teams, both England and Australia, have had, I don't want to say a bad autumn. I mean, they've had a pretty decent autumn as far as things go. But I'm going to give a slight edge to Australia, because Australia are not going to want to lose to both England and Wales. And honestly, England, they got a close victory against South Africa, and they got a close defeat against New Zealand, and Japan gave them a good game. They gave them a good game on the weekend, but England able to come out with a win there. I just think that Australia are going to be playing with a bit more confidence after the game that they had against the Italians. So I'm going to give a slight edge to Australia, but I do think England are going to put up a good game. They're going to put up a good game. And then we got Scotland versus Argentina. Yeah, Scotland against Argentina. I think that's the other game. That's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a very interesting one, because Scotland, personally, in my opinion, Scotland, the results that they have, it doesn't reflect the way that they've performed. I mean, they've played outstanding this autumn international, and I think, they could have very easily gotten the win against Wales. They could have easily got the win against South Africa. I mean, they're one of those teams where the results doesn't reflect the way that they've performed. I mean, Scotland, I think they got what it takes to beat Argentina, and hopefully they do. Hopefully they do. It'll be a great confidence booster going into the Six Nations run. And then we move on to Wales versus South Africa. History is on the line in this game. History. Wales have never won every single autumn test match in the autumn since the autumn internationals began. We have never won a clean sweep of victories. And Wales are going to be playing with a lot of confidence. South Africa, I'm not sure how much confidence they're going to be playing with. I've seen how they played against Scotland, I mean, it was a shaky performance on both sides, you know, in the second half especially. And with the depth now that Wales got, we're going to be playing with a lot of confidence. And in fact, you know, I don't even know who Gatland is going to choose for the side, because there's a lot of depth. There's a lot of depth in our Welsh squad. Excuse me, I'm going to have a little sip of coffee. Yeah, I spilled coffee all over the side of it. My cup has been stained. It's been stained. But yeah, this is a perfect opportunity for Wales to get, you know, more confidence going into the Six Nations. And, you know, 8 victories on the bounce now for Wales. This could be the 9th. And I think that's one of the longest unbeaten runs that Wales have had as an international squad. So this is going to be a crucial game. Because if Wales can win this, going into the Six Nations is going to be, it's going to be a 2-horse race in my opinion for the Six Nations. I think it is going to be between Ireland and Wales. At the moment I give an edge to Ireland. Yeah, I do think Ireland are probably playing the best rugby I've ever seen them play. Wales also are playing the best rugby I've seen them play for a very long time. So it's going to be one of those things of who's going to turn up on the day. So I think Wales will get the win against South Africa. And then we're going to move into the Six Nations. It's either going to be Wales or Ireland for the Six Nations Championship, in my personal opinion. I think Ireland got the best chance at a Grand Slam victory. Wales, over recent years, we haven't had much luck against England. Especially, you know, we've had a few games where we have definitely played the better rugby and the results haven't gone our way. But, you know, it could all be resurrected this Six Nations tournament. But as we all know, England only decide to turn up World Cup year. You know what I mean? We've seen it in the past. You know, England play their best rugby when it's World Cup year. I think we can all agree with that. And Ireland right now playing like the best in the world. And they've beaten the best in the world. So confidence are going to be, boom, soaring for Ireland. So it's going to be one of those things. The irresistible force meeting the immovable object for the Six Nations. Wales versus Ireland for the championship. Grand Slam, probably, smart money would say Grand Slam winners would be Ireland. If Wales do come out with a Grand Slam, I won't be surprised, I'll be pleased. And a little bit shocked that we managed to beat Ireland. But we do have a pretty decent record against Ireland, so it's not out of the question. England, I think, will be in a little bit of a battle with Scotland and France for that 3rd place again. England last season, you know, getting 5th place. I've made a lot of jokes about that. A lot of jokes. But to be honest, you know, that's just the competition right now in the Six Nations. You know, France are coming back into the fold. You know, they're getting back to their former glory. In fact, France have had a pretty decent autumn so far. You know, they've had a very decent autumn so far, so we can't write them off, you know, performing at the Six Nations. Scotland, they've been improving vastly over the past few years. So it really is going to go to either one of those 3. Unfortunately, I do think Italy will get the wooden spoon again. And, you know, a great thing that happened there, you know, Italy did get the win against Georgia in the autumn internationals. And with all the talk that Georgia should be competing in the Six Nations, that's a big win for Italy. Because it kind of squashes that little talk and that, you know, maybe Italy should be removed and Georgia should be put into the Six Nations. You know, they've kind of squashed it with a victory right now. So that's my Six Nations predictions. World Cup. Honestly, right, you know, we're a year out, so I got plenty of time to change my mind about these opinions. But if things keep progressing the way they have progressed so far, I think Pool A, Ireland will win that group, followed by Scotland getting through as well. Pool B, I think New Zealand will win that group, with South Africa second. So obviously, quarterfinals will be New Zealand versus Scotland, Ireland versus South Africa, and you know, they will be the matchups for the quarterfinals. And I do think Ireland will beat South Africa, and New Zealand will beat Scotland, and it'll be New Zealand, Ireland in the semi-finals. Now, flipping it over to the other end of the pool stages, you know, Pool C is a tricky one because, you know, it is basically the group of death with France, England and Argentina in there. Personally, I think France and England will go through. I can't pick someone who's going to win that group. I can't. I gotta wait to see what's going to happen in the Six Nations before I pick a definitive, you know, who's going to finish first in that group, who's going to come second. But I do think at this moment in time, I'm going to give a very slight edge to England at this moment in time. So England will probably win their group with France second, but obviously it's that close and it could change at a drop of a dime. And then we got Pool D, Australia and Wales going through. Now Wales with that big win, the big win last week against Australia is kind of giving me hope that Wales can win their group. And if things keep progressing the way they have progressed for Wales, I do think Wales can win that group. But I'm going to keep it with the smart money right now and say Australia for the time being. But I do think Wales are more than capable of winning their group. So if things go the way that it has gone, it'll be France versus Australia, Wales versus England. I do think Australia will beat France. So Australia will advance to the semi-finals. And then we got the clash of Wales and England. Now, England are going to want a bit of revenge after the World Cup in 2015, where Wales was the key game that knocked England out of their own World Cups. They're going to want a bit of revenge for that. But England's record against Wales in World Cups is 3 games played. England have won 1 of them, and Wales have won the other 2. So honestly, with Wales playing the way they're playing right now, I think Wales will beat England. And to be honest, even if it's the other way round and it's Wales against France, I think Wales will get past France, even though our record against France in the World Cup is not very great. But I think Wales, doesn't matter, will win that game, and you know, same for Australia as well. So it'll be Wales, Australia semi-finals. And you know, like I said, you know, Wales, they're capable of beating Australia. You know, we just recently done it. If things keep progressing the way they do, and if we actually win our group as well, we're going to be on such a confidence roll that we could get to the final of the World Cup by beating Australia a second time in the semi-finals. And it'll leave an interesting question, because it will either be Ireland or New Zealand. Ireland have never been to the final of a World Cup before. Ireland have beaten New Zealand recently. Ireland are playing with such confidence right now. They are playing like a team that should be ranked #1 in the world. And I just think Ireland can knock England out of the World Cup. I think they can. And you know, I mean, it'll be great for the Irish to get to the final, because if it's Ireland versus Wales, we're guaranteed a new World Cup championship nation. And there's a it's a Northern Hemisphere side as well, which hasn't happened since 2003, you know, with England, and they've done nothing but hold that over everyone since then. You know, that's all England gotta say, really. You know, they don't care when it comes to the Six Nations now. You know, they can finish second, and now they just go like this. Yep, but if you won a World Cup, well, that's it. That's all. That's all they say. But when it comes down to Ireland versus New Zealand, it's a tricky one. At the moment, I'm going to give the edge to Ireland, just because they've beaten New Zealand very recently. And while I haven't seen the game, I know they beat them. And I'm not sure whether I'll do my live reaction to it now, because I know Ireland won. Cheers, Gog. But, you know, we'll see what happens in the Six Nations and how Ireland play there. But I'll give the edge to Ireland for the time being. So we'll have Wales versus Ireland in the World Cup final. Australia versus New Zealand for the third place. And I think New Zealand will get the third place, you know. It is what it is. But obviously, if New Zealand do make it to the final, it's history right there. It's history, because if Wales versus New Zealand in the final, do you realise the amount of hype that is going to build up? Wales have not beaten New Zealand since the 1950s. We haven't beaten New Zealand since then. And New Zealand's sides over the years have had close victories against us, have had very dominating victories against us, and they've had victories where they've been outplayed for about 60 minutes and then they turn up in the last 20 minutes and put like 40 points on us. Basically like what happened against Tonga, you know. So it depends on what New Zealand turn up, but I'm going to pick Ireland to get to the final. So Wales, Ireland in the final. Honestly, as it stands right now, I would say Ireland to win the World Cup as it stands right now. But after the Six Nations, my opinion might change. My opinion might change. I think when it comes to picking a World Cup champion this far out, I've only got 4 picks. Ireland, Wales, New Zealand, Australia. They are my 4 picks, and I say Australia because Australia technically have the easier passage to the final, technically. And you know, Ireland, New Zealand, obviously, because they ranked 1 and 2 in the world. Wales as well, you know, they ranked 3 in the world. So I think it's going to be interesting. I think it'll be between those 4 for the World Cup, and I think it'll be between Ireland and Wales for the Six Nations coming up. Obviously, we got 1 more week of the Autumn Internationals left. Wales, South Africa are going to be a big game. Scotland, Argentina are going to be a big game. England, Australia are going to be a big game. Ireland, you know, should be a relatively easy game for them. And you know, we'll just see what happens. We'll see what happens on the run up to the World Cup and the run up to the Six Nations. So it's my little predictions of what's going to happen this weekend and Six Nations and World Cup. You know, my little predictions and everything. They're bound to change when we get closer to the date. But for right now, top 4. You know, New Zealand, Ireland, Wales, Australia. That's just my picks for the moment for the World Cup. Wales and Ireland for Six Nations at the moment. It's just the way I'm looking at it. I'm not trying to be biased or anything, but it's just how I'm seeing it. So, if you guys enjoyed my little prediction, don't forget to drop a like down. Let me know your predictions in the comments below. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell, and we will catch you in the next video. Lego.